Hey Raiders fans, we're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. That way, you'll always stay up to date with breaking news and exclusive content. The news broke like a thunderbolt across the NFL landscape, catching fans, analysts, and even some players off guard. RASUL Douglas, the cornerback who had quickly become one of the most consistent defensive pieces for the Buffalo Bills, is now officially on his way to the Las Vegas Raiders. For a fan base that had embraced him in Western New York, this sudden departure feels like the ground shifting under their feet. Douglas wasn't just another player in the Bills' secondary. He was a stabilizing presence, someone who seemed to thrive in the clutch moments when Buffalo needed a turnover or a critical stop. And yet, here we are, with the Raiders announcing their newest acquisition, sparking waves of excitement in Las Vegas while leaving a stunned silence in Buffalo. What makes this move even more electrifying is not just the fact that it happened, but the timing and the whispers surrounding it. Reports suggest the Raiders were quietly chasing Douglas for weeks, sensing an opportunity to bring a veteran leader into their locker room just when their young defense needed it most. The result is a shift that feels seismic, with ripple effects destined to be felt across the entire AFC. For the Raiders, this isn't simply about adding another player to fill a roster spot. This is a statement, a declaration that they are serious about fixing their defense and competing in a division where every yard counts and every play is a war. Douglas comes in with a reputation as a savvy veteran who reads quarterbacks with the instincts of a chess master and pounces on mistakes with ruthless precision. Raider Nation, already one of the most passionate fan bases in sports, has erupted in sheer ecstasy, flooding social media with celebrations, memes, and bold predictions of dominance to come. You can feel the electricity humming from the desert all the way across the football world as fans picture Douglas lining up against the league's top receivers, locking them down and bringing swagger back to the silver and black. Critics will argue that Douglas is on the wrong side of 30 and maybe not the long-term answer, but for the moment, none of that matters. The Raiders needed this injection of energy, and they've got it, and the AFC West just became even more dangerous because of it. Meanwhile, in Buffalo, emotions are swirling with a mix of heartbreak and frustration. Fans there had grown attached to Douglas, not just for his play, but for the attitude he brought to the field. He was fearless, confident, and vocal in ways that resonated with a team trying to finally break through to the Super Bowl. Watching him leave feels like losing a part of that identity. Some are questioning the front office, asking whether the Bills miscalculated in letting go of a player who still had plenty left to give. Others are speculating whether this was part of a larger plan, perhaps clearing cap space or maneuvering for a future deal that is yet to be revealed. Either way, the emotional gut punch is undeniable. Buffalo is a city that lives and breathes football, where players aren't just athletes but symbols of resilience and pride. Losing Douglas doesn't just weaken the roster on paper. It stings at the soul of the fan base, leaving them to wonder if this year's Super Bowl window just got a little narrower. From a league-wide perspective, the trade is sparking endless debates on sports talk shows and podcasts. Analysts are breaking down film, showing Douglas' ball-hawking ability, his knack for baiting quarterbacks, and his ability to create turnovers at crucial times. They're also speculating about how exactly he fits into the Raiders' evolving scheme, led by a coaching staff desperate to stop being the punchline in a division dominated by Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The timing of this move, so close to the heart of the season, adds to the intrigue. It raises the question of whether the Raiders see themselves as legitimate contenders right now, or if this is more about building a cultural shift that emphasizes toughness and accountability. Either way, the NFL thrives on storylines like this, and Douglas' sudden shift from one conference rival to another is exactly the kind of theater that fuels ratings, rivalries, and endless banter among fans. The whispers behind the scenes paint an even juicier picture. Some insiders suggest that Douglas himself was intrigued by the opportunity to play under the bright lights of Las Vegas, in a stadium that feels more like a futuristic coliseum than a football venue. The glitz, the glamour, the energy of Raider Nation, all of it may have played a role in his willingness to embrace the move. Others hint that there were tensions brewing in Buffalo, subtle disagreements over scheme, usage, or even locker room dynamics. Nothing has been confirmed, of course, but in a league where smoke usually means fire, those murmurs only fuel the narrative. Imagine Douglas walking into that Raiders locker room, shaking hands with Max Crosby, and instantly becoming part of a defensive core that's hungry to make a statement. That image alone has fans buzzing. It's one that makes you wonder if we'll look back on this trade as a turning point for both franchises. Financially, the deal raises eyebrows too. The Raiders are investing in Douglas not just for his current play, but for the leadership he brings, and they're clearly willing to absorb his contract in exchange for that impact. Buffalo, on the other hand, may have been motivated by the need to balance their books as they continue to juggle high-profile contracts for stars like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. It's the kind of behind-the-scenes reality that fans often hate to acknowledge, but one that shapes every franchise's destiny. Money, as much as talent, drives these moves, and in this case, it feels like the Raiders were ready to pay the price to get their man. The question now becomes whether that gamble pays off with wins, playoff appearances, and perhaps even a chance to dethrone the Chiefs. Raider fans believe it will. Buffalo fans, meanwhile, are left to hope that the long-term vision justifies the short-term pain. One of the most fascinating aspects of this story is how quickly perception shifts in the NFL. Just days ago, Douglas was being celebrated in Buffalo as a cornerstone of their playoff push. Now, he's being hailed in Las Vegas as a savior, a missing piece that could elevate the defense into something formidable. It's a reminder of how fleeting loyalty can be in this league and how players must adapt to constant change. For Douglas, the move is both an opportunity and a challenge. He has the chance to redefine himself in a new city, to embrace a culture steeped in rebellious pride and historic grit. But with that comes pressure. Raider Nation expects its stars to deliver, and there will be no honeymoon period once he steps on the field. Every snap, every tackle, every pass breakup will be scrutinized, celebrated, or criticized. That's the reality of playing for a team with such a storied legacy and such desperate hunger to return to glory. Fans are already circling dates on the calendar, looking at when the Raiders and Bills could potentially clash again. Imagine the storylines if Douglas lines up against his former teammates, intercepts a Josh Allen pass, and waves toward the Buffalo sideline with that trademark swagger. The NFL is built for moments like that, moments where sports transcend statistics and become pure theater. You can bet networks are salivating at the possibility, ready to hype it as a showdown dripping with drama and emotion. For now, though, all we have is the shock, the speculation, and the mounting anticipation of seeing Douglas in silver and black. What we know for sure is that the Raiders have made a bold move, the Bills have suffered a painful loss, and the rest of the league is watching closely. Because in the NFL, one player can change everything, and RASUL Douglas just might be that player. The conversation now turns to what this trade truly means for the Raiders' identity moving forward. For years, they've been searching for consistency, a sense of purpose on defense to match the franchise's legendary swagger from decades past. RASUL Douglas isn't a miracle cure, but he is exactly the kind of veteran presence who can change the mood in a locker room. Think about the message this sends to younger players, that the front office is willing to make bold moves, to bring in someone who has fought in playoff battles, who knows how to prepare, and who can show them what it takes to compete at the highest level. The Raiders have plenty of talent, but youth can be unpredictable, and it often needs direction. By adding Douglas, they're not just improving their cornerback room, they're planting a seed of accountability. If he comes in and sets the tone at practice, if he shows that relentless film study ethic he's known for, the ripple effect could be transformative. Fans sense it too. This isn't just another roster shuffle. This feels like the Raiders laying a foundation, something that could finally bring stability to a team desperate to rise again. What cannot be ignored is how this move shakes up the AFC West, already one of the most brutal divisions in football. Every team in that group knows you have to build your defense with Patrick Mahomes in mind. You don't survive in the AFC West without answers for the Chiefs' passing attack, and Douglas brings a set of skills tailor-made for that challenge. He's not afraid to gamble on routes. He thrives in reading the quarterback's eyes, and his physicality at the line of scrimmage can disrupt timing in a way that throws even the most precise offenses off balance. Raider fans are already imagining him matching up against Travis Kelce, against those speedy Kansas City receivers, and holding his own in ways that their secondary has often failed to do. And then there are the matchups with Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson, two quarterbacks who love to test defenses deep. Douglas' ball-hawking tendencies make him a perfect weapon to counter that. Suddenly, the Raiders don't just look like the underdog in the AFC West. They look like a squad ready to scrap and claw for every inch, and that makes this division even spicier. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The timing also raises interesting questions about the Bills' confidence in their remaining defensive pieces. On paper, Buffalo still has talent, but losing Douglas leaves a hole that can't simply be patched overnight. In a season where every win counts, where seeding could determine whether they host a playoff game or travel into hostile territory, this departure could prove costly. Fans in Buffalo are right to wonder, what's the plan? Are the Bills banking on their front seven to generate enough pressure to cover for a thinner secondary? Are they trusting younger players to step up into roles they may not be ready for? Or is there another move coming, something still hidden from public view? The NFL is notorious for smoke and mirrors, and it wouldn't be shocking if Buffalo has something else brewing behind closed doors. Still, the optics are tough. Letting a proven playmaker walk at a time when the team is under immense pressure to deliver a championship feels like a gamble. And while fans want to trust the process, the sting of watching Douglas head to a direct conference rival leaves plenty of doubt lingering in the cold Buffalo air. In Las Vegas, though, doubt is replaced by adrenaline. The city thrives on spectacle, and this trade feels tailor-made for the Raiders' new identity in their flashy Allegiant Stadium. Imagine the first home game where Douglas takes the field, the crowd roaring under those bright Vegas lights, the DJ blasting, the atmosphere crackling like a playoff game in September. These are the moments the Raiders have been craving, moments when the entire NFL world turns its gaze toward them and says, "Okay, let's see what you've got." And make no mistake, the expectations will be high. Raider Nation isn't a patient group. They want results, and they want them now. That means Douglas doesn't just need to be good. He needs to be spectacular. He needs to show up in primetime games, to make those interceptions that swing momentum, to give the fans the highlight reel plays they'll replay all week. The Raiders know this, Douglas knows this, and the fans know this. That's the beauty of the fit. Both sides crave the spotlight. Both sides thrive under pressure, and both sides believe this partnership can deliver fireworks the NFL won't be able to ignore. What's fascinating here is the ripple effect this could have on the Raiders' offense, too. A stronger defense doesn't just keep opponents off the scoreboard. It changes the way the offense can attack. Imagine Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams operating with shorter fields because Douglas just snatched a pass and flipped momentum. Imagine the offense not needing to chase every game from behind because the defense can finally get those crucial third-down stops. That kind of balance is what separates good teams from contenders, and if Douglas is the catalyst for that shift, then this trade could be remembered as the moment the Raiders started to believe again. For years, they've had offensive weapons but lacked the defensive backbone to close games. Now, with Douglas bringing not only his skill but his edge, that narrative could shift dramatically. And for an offense that's been carrying the weight for too long, that's a breath of fresh air. It's a symbiotic relationship. Defense lifts offense. Offense rewards defense. And Douglas might be the missing link to finally make it all click in the desert. Of course, no NFL story is complete without the human element, and Douglas himself becomes a central figure in this saga. How will he adjust to life in Las Vegas, both on and off the field? This isn't Buffalo, where the snow and small-town feel made for a tight-knit community. This is Vegas, where distractions are everywhere and the spotlight never dims. Some players thrive in that environment, embracing the chaos and feeding off the energy. Others struggle, losing focus under the bright lights. The Raiders will be hoping Douglas is the former, that his veteran maturity and discipline will keep him locked in. If he can balance the glamour with the grind, then Raider Nation is about to witness something special. But make no mistake, the transition will be closely watched. Every practice, every interview, every snap will be dissected. Fans and analysts alike will be searching for clues, looking to see whether Douglas is the savior they've been promised or simply another name added to a long list of Raiders gambles. For now, the optimism is overwhelming, but reality will come quickly, and Douglas will have to prove he's up for it. For the Bills, the narrative turns to resilience. How does a team rebound from losing a key defensive piece midseason? This is where coaching matters, where locker room culture is tested, and where the next man up mentality becomes more than just a cliche. Buffalo has built its reputation on toughness, on weathering adversity, and on rallying around its stars. But with Douglas gone, there's a sense of vulnerability creeping in, a sense that maybe this isn't their year after all. That's a dangerous mindset, and it's one the coaching staff will need to fight against. Josh Allen and the offense may need to carry even more of the load, and while they're capable, the pressure is immense. The defense, meanwhile, will need unsung heroes to emerge, players who seize the opportunity to step into the spotlight. This is where legacies are born in the NFL, when someone unexpected rises to the occasion. Buffalo fans will be praying for that, hoping that while they lost Douglas, they might discover the next breakout star in the process. Because in football, as in life, the only option is to keep moving forward, no matter how painful the setback. In the end, this trade is bigger than just a player changing uniforms. It's about identity, about ambition, and about the never-ending chase for glory in the NFL. RASUL, Douglas moving from Buffalo to Las Vegas represents the constant churn of a league that thrives on unpredictability, where heroes and villains can switch roles overnight. For Raider Nation, it's a cause for celebration, a reason to dream big, to believe that their team is finally ready to step out of the shadows and reclaim its place among the league's elite. For Bills Mafia, it's a gut punch, a reminder that the journey to a championship is rarely smooth, and that sometimes beloved players become casualties of the bigger picture. The beauty of the NFL is that both perspectives are true, both sides have valid emotions, and both will have to live with the consequences. What happens next will unfold on the field, where speculation gives way to reality. And as the season progresses, one thing is certain. All eyes will be on RASUL Douglas, the man caught in the middle of this storm, carrying the hopes of one city and the heartbreak of another. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.